What's up, guys? Kent Ketchum, what's up, man? I see you're happy, understandably so. Yeah, so here we are for Big 12 football roundup again, and there was a bit of a game yesterday. A bit of a that was a weird game. Obviously, the big one I'm talking about here, Texas, as you can see in the thumbnail up above, Texas taking OU to Dick Kick City. That was really bad defense by OU, but that was an impressive win for Texas. Even though OU rallied late and probably so, I'll be honest with you, OU didn't deserve to win the game anyway. The defense never got really a meaningful stop. I know they forced one meaningful stop where Texas made one weird play. One of the few mistakes I saw out of Ellinger all day. 3rd and 3 instead of just taking the sack and keeping the clock running. He instead throws the ball into the dirt, stopping the clock. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter because OU's next drive was like 2 plays anyway. But let's get into all that. So let me start from the beginning here instead of jumping on at the very end. So, if for some reason you didn't watch the game or you just want to hear me admit the score of the game, Texas beats OU 48-45 in the Red River Showdown yesterday. And for much of the game, Texas looked like the superior team. I mean, they really did. OU's defense, and I've been trying to say this for weeks now, OU's defense has reverted back to its old form. The first couple of weeks, OU looked like they had finally a good defense, and the past few weeks, it's been anything but. And I know they escaped Army a couple of weeks ago, but that was when it became fully evident to me. Iowa State was signs. Army was fully evident to me that the defense was flawed. And then even against Baylor, even though they held them to 33 and doubled them up, they still managed to give up like 400 yards passing. So it was very concerning to me trying to see how OU was going to be able to stop anybody. Texas averages nowhere near the numbers they put out yesterday. And to me, that's more indicative of, yes, Texas getting up for the game, but Oklahoma's defense just being that bad. I mean, they've literally stopped nobody, not once, from scoring inside their red zone. They are last in the country in that department. 100% conversion rate against them. On downs of like 3rd and short, they're one of the worst in the country. 4th and short, they're also abysmal. Like, I don't know what it is with their defense, but it's insanity how bad it is. And it all goes back to Mike Stoops. It really does. But not to take anything away from Texas. Texas took it to them. OU just has some severe problems with its defense, even with better prospects and recruits in their class on the field this year. They're still reverting back to a lot of those bad habits that have plagued the program for really 5-6 years at least. So yeah, it goes poorly for OU. I think the 2 biggest plays for Texas that to me won the game, maybe not the 2 biggest plays, but 2 plays that really stick out in my mind. One was in the first half and one was at the start of the second half. So Texas is driving towards OU's end zone, and OU manages to force Texas into a 3rd and 20. 3rd and 20, OU rushes 3, Texas picks up 19 because Ellinger has all day back there. So now it's 4th and 1. Texas rushes up to the line. Lincoln Riley suddenly panics and goes, oh crap, timeout. So he's like, all right, let's get organized, timeout. Well, Texas gets the 4th down easily anyway, or the first down on 4th down. So they convert easily anyway. And it's just like, well, now you wasted a timeout and it didn't even matter. Like, you gave up 19 yards. And then the same thing happened on Texas's first drive, I think, of the second half, where it's again, no, it wasn't the first drive of the second half, but it happened again in the second half. Almost exactly the same, just going the other direction, where they give up 19 yards. In this case, I think it was a 3rd and 21. Texas goes for it on 4th and 2, converts. And that's winning football. That's winning in the trenches, and OU has not been able to do that the past several weeks. And so you get what you get with that. You get Sam Ellinger goes 24 of 35 for 314, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So only sacked once, too. That's the other thing that killed OU, is they got no pressure. So his credit to Texas, as much maligned as their offensive line was at the start of the season, they looked significantly better. Now Texas has USC from a name value, yes, but they are not USC that you might think of in terms of, it's not like the Pete Carroll USC or anything like that. But still, they beat USC. They've now beaten TCU and Oklahoma in 3 weeks. Those were your two favorites in the Big 12. West Virginia is still my dark horse. You still got to watch for them. But here's the thing. There's a very real chance Texas and Oklahoma match up again in December for the Big 12 championship because your 1 seed plays your 2 seed now. So we'll see how that goes. I actually think there's a good chance West Virginia can squeak into that game. They play OU the last week of the season. I don't know if OU will recover or if they will continue to plummet. I've been thinking their stock was trending downward the past few weeks anyway. But it's regardless an impressive victory for Texas. And, you know, it is what it is. They get Ingram 13 carries for 86 yards. He was finally healthy, looked pretty good out there. But the thing that killed OU, their cornerbacks, they have smaller cornerbacks, and they could do nothing with Humphrey or Johnson. I mean, 9 for 133 for Humphrey for a touchdown. He also threw a touchdown. He also converted another pass to Ellinger. Johnson goes 6 for 81 in a touchdown. I mean, just it's insane how ineffective the Oklahoma defense was. No turnovers, 1 sack. Gave up literally everything Texas wanted, and it was only when Texas got a little cute late in the game and started being ultra-conservative that OU, as explosive as they are, said, all right, screw it, I don't care. We're going to turn the ball loose. We're going to do everything we can because now we're down 21 with like 8:25 to play. We have nothing to lose. And so that's what they did. So OU trailing, what was it, 45-24 in the fourth quarter with like 8:28 left. OU hits first on like a 73-yard bomb to Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. That gets something going. Defense finally gets a stop for OU stopping Texas. Then you have the, 63-yard run by Kyler Murray where he just accelerates down the sideline and no one can catch him. I mean, that was legit. Then OU gets another stop. Defense does its job at least. Gets another stop. That's where you have the Ellinger 3rd and 3, instead of taking the sack and letting the clock keep running, he instead throws it into the dirt when he's under pressure. That was a bad decision, I think. And then OU grinds out a somewhat long drive, resulting in a Trey Sermon dive into the end zone to tie it at 45 all with like 2:28 left. But here's the thing. Even when they scored that touchdown, OU, I looked at it and I said, that's too much time. That's too much time, and the thing is, your defense, even though it finally got a couple stops, you scored so fast on 2 of those 3 scores, like 2 plays before the 73-yarder to Brown, and then like 2 or 3 plays before the scamper by the 63-yard whatever scamper by Kyler Murray. Your long drive in that comeback was like 5 plays, 6 plays maybe. So I said even then, I was like, your defense is tired. It's been getting its butt kicked all day. It finally gets you a couple stops, and now you're like, all right, dude, you got to do it one more time. Only Texas isn't going to be conservative now. So it's like Texas turning the faucet back on as far as really trying. And, yeah, they couldn't stop them. So it goes down with, like I said, 48-45. Texas sends out Dicker the Kicker. Weird nickname. To kick a 40-yarder with, I think there was 12 seconds left after the kick. He makes it. After the kick, there's 9 seconds left. OU gets 2 snaps. First one completely discombobulated, and then it goes into the lateral drill, which had 0 chance of working. So, yeah, it is what it is. Kyler goes 19 of 26 for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. The pick was terrible. He never saw the safety for Texas. He does go 11 rushes for 92 yards and a touchdown as well. It was a 67 on that run, apparently, for Kyler, not 63. But beyond that, OU didn't get a lot going. Trey Sermon, 9 carries, 54 yards. The offense never could get going. Even though Sermon averaged 6 a pop, he didn't get a whole lot of work. Sutton, 8 for 42, 5 a pop. Brooks, 3 for 34, 11 a pop. Like, they were able to make things happen, but because they were self-destructing, because Kyler throws the pick, Texas kicks a field goal and goes up. Okay? Then the next time OU gets the ball. They drive down, have to settle for a field goal, tie it up at 13. Then you have Texas go score a touchdown. So it's like, okay, now pressure's on. I got to do something here. And then you have a just horrifically bad 3-and-out by OU, where it's like blink and you miss the entire drive. I mean, it's like sack, tackle for loss, 4-yard scamper out of bounds by Kyler, seeing there's nothing to do. And Texas goes down again, scores, and it's just at this point, it's like, holy crap, like they are really pouring it on. Now, OU does cut it to 7, 24-17 at half. So I guess I had the score wrong. OU tied it at 10, not 13. Regardless, it's 24-17 at half. Texas comes out with the ball, again, takes it to OU. And then you get a critical fumble. At one point, OU's down 14. They score, get a stop, and then it's like, okay, third quarter, late third quarter, here you go. You got to drive the field. You can get a score and tie it up. First damn play, Kyler Murray just fumbles. Like, he feels the pressure. He tries to brace himself to, like, keep a vertical base and avoid the sack, but he puts the ball down on the ground. Not his elbow, not his leg, not something that would mark him down. Just puts the ball on the ground, and it just rolls out of his hand. And it's a fumble. He's not down. The ball touches the ground, but that's a fumble. And Texas recovers at the OU, like, 25 or something, drives in for another touchdown, and so it was just like, okay. At that point, I was like, that's probably the game killer right there. That's probably it for OU. And, you know, like I said, they get that electrifying comeback, but even as they were driving, even as they were making that comeback, I'm thinking the whole time, they don't deserve to win. Texas has been the better team, and Texas is getting they're playing with their food a little bit late, but that felt like a game Texas deserved to win the whole time. And so I kind of emotionally disengaged a little bit, but it is what it is. Let's see, for OU, Marquise Brown, 9 targets, 9 catches, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns with a long of 77. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches on 8 targets and a touchdown. So yeah, I mean, OU's got a great 1-2 punch at receiver. They don't have CeeDee Lamb's a bigger receiver, but he's not like a guy that'll take a game over. He can just make a handful of really nice plays and maybe one electrifying play in a game. The OU offense is really boiled down to Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray, and then just mixing in a little bit of running when they need to. So, great win for Texas. They moved to 5-1. They are very much so in the driver's seat now for the Big 12. However, do I look at this game and say, as great of a win for Texas as it is, do I feel that Texas is quote-unquote back? Not yet, at least. Because I view this as nothing I saw from the Texas offense wowed me. And what I mean by that is looking at their season as a whole for them and then watching them beat up on a bad OU defense that I've already been saying is bad the past few weeks. It didn't blow me away. Like, I look at it and I say, okay, they played well, they played great, but I still think they're an okay offense, not a great offense. The defense can give up huge plays. We've seen that all year. Maryland hit them for big plays. So the defense has flaws. It'll take its foot off the gas. Here's the thing, though. I'm not trying to kick dirt on Texas or belittle their win at all. I think Texas can still win the Big 12 this year. But when I say back, I mean like national spotlight, like in the college football playoff in this case. I don't think, based on what I saw yesterday, that they are ready there. That Maryland loss is going to hurt them. It's not an end-all, be-all. We've seen OU get to the playoff twice now with bad losses along the way. So we'll see. They got to get through West Virginia, which is going to be tough. And then they're going to have a rematch with either West Virginia or Oklahoma. I mean, I guess it could be TCU, but they'll have a rematch with someone that was a really tough game for them regardless during the season. And that'll determine everything. Now for OU, is the season over? Not yet, but like I said, they made the playoff twice before with one loss, but at the same time, this defense looks like it's fallen apart for me. So when people ask me about OU in the playoff, let's just, if you're OU, let's just try and get past it and see what you can do. Because, I mean, even when OU was mounting that drive yesterday, I'll admit, now doing everything I do for this website and this channel and everything, it's weird because in some regard, I'm consuming more sports than ever, trying to give you guys good in-depth analysis and kind of breakdown summaries and all of that of various sports, whether it's college football, whether it's Cowboys football, Dallas Mavericks basketball. I mean, sometimes I'll even talk more generally NBA or NFL. And, that doesn't even include some of the other stuff I do. So it's like I'm consuming more sports than ever to give you guys the best content I can. But it's like because I'm consuming so much content and because I'm treating this more like something I'm trying to make my career, my passion, whatever, it's also forced me to kind of emotionally take a little bit of a step back. Like my heart was still beating when OU was making that late drive. But a couple years ago, I'm like pacing the living room. I'm like jumping off the couch. I'm a wreck during that. Whereas yesterday, I'm kind of watching it and I can feel my heart beating, but I'm just kind of sitting quietly watching it and just trying to be as objective as I can. And like I said, I'm thinking the whole time, I don't think they deserve it. But yeah, when they were heading to the end zone and when they were mounting that comeback the whole time, I'm just thinking, damn it. that was pantomiming how I felt at the end of that game yesterday. So Texas 48-45 over Oklahoma. Talked enough on that one. I'm sure that little music cue will get me a copyright pop from YouTube. Who knows? But we'll see. Also in the Big 12, Iowa State moves to 2-3, going to Stillwater and beating Oklahoma State 48-42. Can we move Oklahoma State off of the significant team pedestal in the Big 12? They've got a great offense, but man, that's like their second bad loss at home within the conference. So they're already out of the running for Big 12 title. And Iowa State's feisty. Their record 2-3 isn't anything amazing, but they're feisty. They've given plenty of teams in the conference already all they want to deal with. And, Texas still has to deal with them. Maybe that'll be one of the trip-ups Kent Ketchum's talking about for Texas if they do trip up. But we'll see. You should hear all the Oklahoma radio this morning. Not good. Lots of crying. Yeah, well, it's a game, guys. End of the day. The only thing I want to say on that as well, one thing that drives me insane, and it's not just Oklahoma fans. I see it from a lot of fan bases, and it's worst, I think, in college football. And the reason I say it's worse is because they're kids. These kids are 18, 19, 20, maybe 21 at oldest generally, or I guess 22. But these are kids out there. And so when a kid makes a bad play or has a bad performance, whether you're talking about the quarterback, a safety, running back, whatever, when you're blowing the kid's Twitter up saying how much he sucks and how he cost you guys the game, that's weak, man. I don't care if you're an OU fan or what sport you're talking about. Like, especially if it's a college kid, like that's so trash, I think. You think the guy doesn't know? You think he already doesn't feel bad about it? Like, he's just like, whatever. I cost us the game. I don't care. Like, that's just trash. That's not a good fans. Like, it's one thing if you want to actually talk about it, whether you're doing it like in this sense where I'm talking about it less directly. I said, like Kyler, those 2 turnovers, they hurt us badly. They cost us. I don't want to say they cost us the game, but they certainly hurt us. We had 0 margin for error, and we had 2 costly errors. So you can't deal with that. But I'm not sitting on here jumping on his Twitter account saying, oh, you suck, blah, 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 blah. You cost us the game. Dude, look at the dude in the post game yesterday. He was broke up enough about it. So it is what it is. I know that's not what you're saying, Kent. I'm just saying in general. Like, that's something in sports that I think sports is such a ravenous thing anyway, where people, it's like so tribal. People just go off when pro athletes. Now with pros, at least you're talking about grown men. It doesn't make it much better, but it's like at least they're grown men. But when you're like a 45-year-old drunk SOB at a bar and you're bitching at like a 19-year-old safety or something because he missed a play or something. It's like, dude, get over yourself. What have you done, you know? Like, God, drives me insane when I see that. And similar with recruits and how fans will harass recruits. But anyway, top private moment. They die hard here. Yeah, no, they absolutely are. Okay, so Iowa State. Purdy goes 18 of 23 for 318, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick against Oklahoma State. So he waxed that butt. Let's see. I want to see how they're... Okay. Butler, they actually held Butler kind of in check. 2 catches, 61 yards. Milton gave him 4 for 98. Oklahoma State side, Cornelius gave him 4 touchdowns and 289. The running game didn't really do anything, though. 2.8 in average for Justice Hill. That's really bad. And then receivers, their best was a 5 for 82. So, yeah, Oklahoma State, not a great showing yesterday at all. I see you in the chat, Adam. I'm getting to West Virginia. I'm just literally moving down the list here on Big 12 games yesterday. Kansas State and Baylor. Baylor wins at home 37-34 over Kansas State. Kansas State's quarterback with a water pistol for an arm. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Kansas State, I don't know what their record is, but they are certainly not very... I mean, they're one of those nuisance teams, but I don't worry too much about them. On the other hand, though, holy God, Barnes for them goes 22 rushes for 250 and 3 touchdowns. Like, to have that kind of running production for Kansas State and lose... That's baffling to me. I'm sure that running back will do something similar against Oklahoma, though, because the run D has been really struggling. For Baylor, Brewer goes 30 of 44, 296, 1-1. Not super impressed. Ebner goes 17 for 100 on the ground. Hurd goes 11 catches, 135 yards. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Baylor's Baylor. They bounce back after a bad loss to OU. Do you think Gundy's shtick is starting to run thin there? I mean, I've heard it's cracking a little, the structure. Absolutely. I think Gundy, I mean, for Oklahoma State, the thing with Gundy is you're never going to get over the top with Gundy. Like, he's had teams in the past that made the like a BCS Bowl when he was... when they were at their peak powers, which was probably somewhere around 2009, 10, 11, something like that. But they're just not... I don't think he'll ever get you over the top, and it's because Oklahoma State isn't able to recruit elite talent, but neither is TCU. TCU, however, is phenomenally coached, and they make it work. Like... That's why I'm frustrated with OU, because I know it's not like, hey, go hire the TCU defensive coordinator and it'll fix everything. But there are a lot of guys out there that you can hire. You know who I want to hire if I'm OU? I'm throwing all the damn money at Iowa State's defensive coordinator. All of the money. Because he does more with less, and now you're like, hey, have like some elite prospects to do this with. Yeah? Yeah, let's do it. And he's already coaching in the conference, so he knows what he has to go up against each week. There's always a risk. Like for Texas with Charlie Strong, they brought in a guy from Louisville, Strong, and he hadn't coached in the Big 12. And you saw how he couldn't really adapt. He was a defensive mind, and yet it didn't translate. So that's essentially... one thing you have to worry about is, can they adapt and translate not just their own philosophy, their own coaching, but their staff as a whole. And he wasn't able to. Now, that's why I like getting the Iowa State defensive coordinator, because that team's never going to do anything. Someone's going to, raid him from that coaching staff eventually. OU might as well be the one to do it if they want to get things turned around. Texas doesn't need it. TCU doesn't need it. Just don't let him go to like Stillwater or something, because if you're not careful, he'll instead get a head coaching opportunity, and then you'll be kicking yourself. We've had enough dick kick city around here. All right, Adam, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but here we are at West Virginia. Let me see your comment. West Virginia played horrible yesterday. We won't win another game if we play like we did yesterday. Well, you win at home 38-22 over Kansas. Now, this was a weird game because not only do you give up 22 to Kansas and only win by 16, I also noted in the first half, Will Grier had 3 picks against Kansas. Now, I know Kansas has been pretty decent at, forcing turnovers this year. Another thing OU can't seem to do. I'm a little bit hung up on this game, as you can see. But it's something, it is an anomaly, I think, to give up 3 picks to Kansas. Let's see how they did. Kansas, their quarterback, 16 of 25, 191, 1 touchdown. Sorry, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Williams on the ground, 12 for 65. No, nothing else really stands out on the stat sheet for them. Will Grier, 28 of 41 for 332, 4 and 3. Also sacked 5 times. Brown on the receiving core gave you 11 for 107 and a touchdown. Sills, sorry, that was, on the ground. Sills gave you 7 for 74 and a touchdown. Yeah, it doesn't look like West Virginia had its momentum going, and it is a top 10 team at this point. It'll be the top-rated team in the Big 12 after this week now that OU got beat. And I don't know what to make of it. Like, I still have them as my dark horse. I do. I still think that they are the most likely team not named Oklahoma or Texas at this point, because now I have to add Texas to that discussion, unfortunately, to come out of the Big 12. But I don't think anyone's coming out of the Big 12 for the playoff this year. If Oklahoma won out, maybe they have an argument, but I don't even see them winning out, honestly. Maybe they could, but I don't see it happening. And if it's West Virginia, I don't think they have the name power that unless they are undefeated, I don't see them coming out. And even then, let's be real, even if they are undefeated, they might still get snubbed. We know the committee will send 2 SEC teams, and it will consider sending 2 Big Ten teams as well. So that's something to have to worry about and figure out how to adapt. West Virginia might not have the name value yet, the name brand, and that could potentially force them to say, all right, well, do it again next year, and then maybe we'll do it. That's just the trouble with being small teams sometimes. Like the year that TCU and Baylor tied for the Big 12 title, co-champions, Big 12 warming its way out before it forced some kind of title game within its conference. Had it been Oklahoma and Texas tied for the Big 12, one of them would have gone. One of them would have. It's that it was TCU and Baylor that the rest of the country was just like, phew. Like, they're good, but come on. There's no way. So that is what it is as well. I am starting to realize how often I am saying is what it is. I don't know why. It's not even a phrase I use ever outside of these shows. But yeah, so I don't know what to make of it for West Virginia. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt, how they potentially bounce back. But we'll see. Let's see. What other little fun drops did I not play yet? OU regarding Mike Stoops. Try that better timing again. There we go. OU did let him off the hook. All right. Yeah, that's probably going to wrap up my time for this one here, guys. Short one, just a 30-minute show. Before I wrap up here, let's hit this drop, this little liner from Dark Avenue. That's what's up. My buddy's Dark Avenue. Anyway, so that's going to do it for this time, guys, for this episode. Hang tight. I will be back later, probably about 3 o'clock. I should have my co-host, Innie and Duca, back for some Mavs fast break. We will talk about the first couple of preseason games, Luka Doncic, our impressions so far, and I'll talk a little bit about not just one, but both of my recent Mavs articles that I wrote for Dallas Sports Fanatic. Hang tight, guys. I'll be back at like 3 o'clock probably for that. So until then, remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.